So I just wanted to touch on this topic real quickly on the idea of fasting and what the purpose is and what the benefits are and what God really is looking for when we fast and when we pray and we try to draw near to Him by humbling our soul with fasting. No doubt, God always looks with favor upon the person that will humble himself. God says many times, one of the things He looks for is a humble soul, and He will always bring down the proud and lift up the humble. So one of the best ways that we can do that and to humble ourselves is to humble our bodies, humble our souls, our physical bodies with that of food or water, or just restrict ourselves from physical activities or physical benefits that will accomplish those goals. Many times we would see often kings God would look upon in favor because they did humble themselves, such as King Ahab, for example. He humbled himself, and God did not bring the evil upon him in his days, but rather would hold off on the wrath until later on. So fasting is something that is good, but what we don't want to do is look at it as something that is mindless. And what do I mean by that? Many times people will just fast, but all they're really doing is just going without food for a couple days. So don't forget that it's a good thing to humble yourself, but what we need to be doing is when we are fasting, actively pursue God. And what He looks for is things like kindness, giving charity, things of that nature. Look for opportunities to make someone's day. Go and clothe the naked with a garment. Go and help somebody out at a shelter. Go do something like that, because God says Himself, I don't want your sacrifices. What He's always wanted is just kindness and justice done to our neighbors and things of that nature. You could go do something as simple as just random acts of kindness. I've thought of times where, I could just go out and just get a gas card or a couple gas cards and just go out and just randomly just take those gas cards and just go up to people and say, hey, I just want to pay for your gas today. That's stuff that He's looking for. That's kindness. That's truth. That's things that we can use that will draw near to God. That's the sacrifice that we can bring to Him, because He doesn't want the flesh of a bull. He doesn't want blood or anything like that of bulls and rams and things like that. God says Himself that what He really wants is justice and truth and kindness, and those are the sacrifices that He really desires from us. If you look at Proverbs 16 verse 6, it says, by kindness and truth iniquity is atoned for, or iniquity is purged. So that's the kind of things that we should be looking for. If we remember in Zechariah, you'll see that the people of those days, and even today in Judaism, in modern Orthodox sects, people will hold a lot of fasts. You see a fast for a person's death, you see a fast for the exile, and this is what those fasts were commemorating in the book of Zechariah. They were commemorating the exiles, but what had happened was the people were actually questioning and asking God, hey, should I do the fast of this month and that month, commemorating the exile as we've done these 70 years? And God says, look, in the future, these fasts that you're keeping, they're going to be times of joy. What I really want you to do is love, mercy, and truth, and don't think any evil thoughts among your neighbor. Rather, instead of these fasts, I want you to do that. I want you to do the latter. That could be the acceptable fast for me. He also gives examples in great detail of what it means to fast to Him. In Isaiah chapter 58, you'll see a great example of the fact that people were saying, hey, I'm trying to humble myself with fasting and try to draw near unto you with fasting, and you didn't even take recognition. And God's saying, look, when you're fasting to me, what you're doing is you are causing strife between each other. You're arguing with each other. You're not doing anything other than just starving yourselves. You're not drawing near unto me, He's saying. What I want you to do, here's an acceptable fast. I want you to go clothe the naked. I want you to go feed the poor. I want you to bring in the people off the streets, help each other. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go do those specific things. What He's saying is, give me your heart, okay? Just go out and help the person that is lowly. Go out and just do something for somebody. Open your heart. Humble yourself. Yes, that's what you have to do. But actively pursue kindness. That's what He's always wanting. And in reality, if you can just give kindness, actively pursue kindness to everybody. It could be something as simple as a smile when you walk in the room, a good morning when you see everybody, a good night when you see everybody. Just try to actively pursue kindness as much as possible, and that is just as much a sacrifice, and actually more so than even in the old days when someone would bring thousands of lambs, thousands of rams, things of that nature, because those were just simply outward expressions of what God really saw on the heart. if you wanted to bring something to God, it's something that you would bring. Like if I had a lot of cattle, then I was giving up something that was mine, and in a pursuit of trying to draw near to God, it was giving up something physical that I could offer to God. And because of the intent of the heart was that I was trying to give something of my own and sacrifice something of my own and give to God and humble myself, that was an acceptable sacrifice. But he was never looking at the physical thing that was brought. It was something that was on the heart. And this is exactly what the book of Isaiah and the prophet Isaiah was saying. Look, you guys are just going through the motions. If you read Isaiah chapter 1, you're going to see that the people were keeping the Sabbaths, they were bringing sacrifices, all these things. But God says, look, I don't want your sacrifices. I don't want your new moons. I don't want you to celebrate the Sabbaths. They're disgusting to me. Why? Because there was no social justice in the land. Look, if we want to draw near unto God, yes, keeping his appointed times are great, but if you're not going to do social justice and be a beacon of light to the other people in the world, then I don't want your sacrifices. I don't want you to keep my Sabbath. You're not representing me well. Fasting without doing anything else to draw near unto God in your actions as a result of the fast is kind of like trying to take your wife out for a nice candlelit dinner and then just texting or watching a basketball or a baseball game all during the dinner. You're there, but you're really not there, you know? And I think that's really what these rituals have done, is they've become so mindless and people just go through the motions. And that's exactly what God's talking about in Isaiah chapter 58. It's like, your heart is not with me. You're saying to me that you're fasting, but what you're really doing is you're just starving yourself. So what we need to do is just take a step back and just say, look, if I'm going to fast, I'm going to take this time to humble my soul, yes, but actively pursue kindness. That's what we need to do when we're fasting. So we don't have to do any unnecessary fast, anything of that nature, but giving up our time to maybe pray more, giving up our time to maybe search the scriptures more and learn more. These are things that will help us draw near unto God and be a sacrifice that we can give. So I'm just hoping this is a help for you today. I just want you to look at the text in Zechariah chapter 8 and 7 and look at what God says, and look at Isaiah chapter 58 when he tells us what an acceptable sacrifice is, that we should bow our heads, humble ourselves, but at the same time seek out the weak and help them as much as possible. So just remember kindness always. The things that have been helping me lately to draw near unto God is just actively pursue kindness to other people, and then at the same time be thankful unto God. God says himself that the things that he desires is thankfulness to him and to pay your vows before him. And then when the time comes and you want to call upon his name, he'll answer you and he'll deliver you in times of trouble. So I'm just hoping these things will be a help to you today, as they are for me right now in my walk. Hopefully you apply it to your life, and next time you fast, you'll actively pursue kindness and be a light to the other people in the world. So I thank you again for watching. I'll see you again on another video.